Absolutely. And I would have to wonder, you know, Mana Surge seems to consistently be making it into the top 8, but they've been having trouble recently kind of pushing past into the semis and then into the finals, of course, taking the win. It's mostly all been about EXG. I'm interested for me, seeing if 5 Pawns has gleaned anything from the 7th and the Omega that would provide him the stopping power to push all the way through for a first place finish. Or if it's going to be somebody else from either his side of the bracket or otherwise. I feel like the Vengeance deck is looking effective, but not overly so. I'm a little concerned for Potwasher. It really did seem like some of those games came down to kind of like his opponent's deck not really kicking into high gear.
You're the Forest guy. Would you say Vengeance Blood has an advantage in a Forest matchup?
No.
Short answer, we're getting right into game here.
Yeah, I would say that it's very tough for Vengeance Blood because as you hurt yourself, the roaches are sitting there waiting for their food, you know?
Right.
Roach is definitely known for reaching high amounts of damage in kind of the... on a 6 play point turn, you could do as much as... you could actually kill if you have some 0 drops on a 6 play point turn. You could do 10 damage.
That's absolutely nasty, and we're seeing a Death's Ledger deck from TaKa. So it it's possibly running Nephthys and Kawi and Mordecai even as well. So absolutely massive deck there. The 2 drops and the 3 drops are neutral followers because you don't want the Death's Ledger to draw up a Skull Beast or a Sport Toy Sergeant.
I wonder if the Nephthys is in this list as well.
It probably is. It most likely is.
So it's, you know, when you look about removal options that are not just destroying a card, that's tough for most classes to do. In terms of Swordcraft, I don't know if there's a lot that's available, if anything at all. How do you stop a Mordecai from constantly swinging at your face? It feels like it's going to be kind of a race. A push for damage here. Yeah. Whereas maybe in some other options you might have Banish, you know, maybe you have Bounce, or maybe you have Transmograph. What would you call that effect? You know,
Transmogrification.
Kind of like Mutagenetic Bolt or Crystallia Lily, that kind of thing.
Transformation.
Yeah, transformation.
Gotcha. And we've seen mid-range sword perform time and time again. Unica is a difficult drop for the Lancer to deal with because Unica, it essentially acts like Ward in a way. It heals you for 2, and so a 2 follower right on turn 2, that damage is completely mitigated. So Shugo might just have to give up his Ward to trade into the Unica. Empty out his board, and then playing Grimnir here, you still get a ward of your own.
He could actually wait and kind of see what the response is for TaKa's side, and then he has the option to push the Grimnir into the Unica and keep the Veteran Lancer.
Interesting. Yep, especially because TaKa has a Grimnir of his own, 2 in fact, in hand.
Look at that card. There's a Nephthys.
There's a Nephthys in his hand for TaKa. Turn 8, we could possibly be seeing that card coming out.
The return, Mordecai never dies.
And this is interesting for the Death's Ledger deck. On turn 4, if you go second, if you really want to get that Death's Ledger full effect, playing it on turn 4 is great, but then that's the first Evolve Orb that you're not able to gain any tempo from.
Yes.
It summons a follower at the end of your turn, so you get the Lich from Hell's Unleasher or Attendant of Night at the end of your turn, which is pretty great for having a 4/4 follower right then, but you don't get to gain any tempo.
Ooh, an Albatross. This might be the Lyrial Ping for face. Oh, he doesn't have the Evolve, doesn't he?
Yeah, turn 5. You'll have it next turn.
Oh, Grimnir versus Grimnir is just... it's so awkward. It's like when you're walking down the street and there's somebody else on the opposite side and you step left and he steps right, and then you step right and he steps left.
Yeah, no one wins.
And then both of you stop for a little while and kind of... Oh, sorry. And you kind of bow your head a little bit and then you walk into each other.
No one wins in a Grimnir fight. It's going to take that Quick Blader to finish him off. And that's the Death's Ledger coming out right on turn 4 for TaKa.
Oh, God!
Oh, it was the Lurching Corpse.
Oh, it's just a Maid Leader.
And it takes out the Quick Blader. Oh, no.
Nobody cares.
For a 4-drop, that's absolutely not what you want to see, especially when there is an Albert and the first Evolve Orb for Shugo available on turn 5. He could swing for 7 damage right on this turn if he chooses to. We'll see what he decides to do. He's got the Geno. It's not really going to be able to trade into anything, so the rush is kind of wasted, of course. And the play orbs are just ramping up, waiting until TaKa gets to that turn 8 Nephthys that he's sitting on right in his hand.
The interesting thing about it is if you play a follower with incredible amounts of damage in this scenario, and and it will probably be more relevant towards the kind of middle part of the game. The instant the Kawi comes out, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot, right?
That's very true.
And so it's always kind of a, you know, and Kawi is what I like to call quote-unquote random, right? He's pretty much targeted, you know, to
Pretty
be
much
honest.
targeted because it targets one of the strongest followers on your
Yes. Yeah.
board. So almost guaranteeing that it takes out the Albert as opposed to the unevolved Grimner. But we're not on turn 7 yet. Still a few play orbs away from that. And it's difficult for Sword to deal with because Geno, Rush, great. If there was just a Kawi on your opponent's side of the field summoning a Geno, you'd have to evolve it, but then it would have 5 defense. And so it wouldn't be able to just clear it out immediately just for Rush. You'd have to deal with it in some other way. So it's a real difficult play for Sword to deal with. Very massive card.
Look at these guys. Oh, and here's the first evolution orb being spent here on turn 5 towards the Grimner. And I think he just wanted to trade in and maintain health on Ward here. Lurching Corpse.
Another Lurching Corpse.
Yep.
So not bad, not bad. But he could have had 2 Liches on his side of the field right now. Another card to have gained tempo next turn. And this is turn 6 for Shugo. He's got the enhanced Geno, as well as Tsubaki as well. If he wants to just get the ambush, there's no follower with 5 attack on the field for TaKa.
I think you really want to save the Tsubaki for a different scenario.
Yep. Especially when there could be a Nephthys coming out, being able to
We
just
see
get rid of that one
Mordecai
follower.
in hand, which, you know, as a Shadowcraft player, I would love to throw to you.
Sure.
How many Mordecais is too many Mordecais in hand?
At least one. At least one Mordecai is probably too many, especially when you've already have Nephthys. Being able to just have that 8 play, okay, I have Nephthys, great. That's all the 8 drops I need. That's what I need for turn 8. That's my win condition right there because it can summon a Mordecai. So what you want with Nephthys is possibly an Erd in your hand as well to be able to destroy that Mordecai and get 2 on your field right on turn 9 and with some other combination of card. So having Mordecai and Nephthys, it's not where Shadow wants to be.
Here comes a Geno play, evolve to get rid of the Unica and leave a 3-1 and a 1-1 on board for Shugo.
Be good, and the Death's Ledger is going to be going away this turn, so turn 6 for TaKa. The Carrot is going to be coming out this turn.
And he could just Soul Convert his Carrot here.
Very well could just give himself another 2-drop in his
Again,
hand
like
as
you
well.
said, does he want to draw more? Right. I mean, maybe to survive, because you still got 2 turns to go.
Right, it's still, yeah, exactly, 2 turns left. There's still turn 7. He does have Zombie Party for an enhanced effect, but when you enhance effect the Zombie Party in with this deck composition, you fill your board with zombies, of course, but then if
That's
your
less
opponent
space
is
for
less space for Nephthys, so
Nephthys.
if your opponent wants to go for face, if they were trying to like, because Shugo obviously knows what the deck composition is going to be. It's going to be Nephthys. He knows that. He knows Nephthys is probably going to be coming out on turn 8. It's Death's Ledger. He can see that.
I feel like
And
he
so he
really
could
wanted to hit his Kawi there with the Soul Conversion.
Mhm.
Not going to happen, though. So 7 play point arrives, Luminous Mage in hand, and Alvidas to consider. I feel like it's a pretty sensible move to run the Knight into the 4-1.
Or he could ping the Carrot Master with the 1 damage from Lyrial Archer.
Last Evolution Orb.
It's the last one.
That's valuable
When
for
you
a
can
Swordcraft
evolve,
player.
yeah, exactly. Very true. You could evolve the Mage, and then that's a free orb right there. Mage would be left with 1 health. And that's a board that TaKa is going to have to deal with, especially with not a solid 7-turn play. He doesn't have Kawi, and he still has an Evolve Orb himself, so he's going to be able to swing. He's going to be able to get some tempo in his favor next turn. But it all depends on what Shugo does this turn to gain the tempo in his own favor.
He's thinking very hard about it,
Yeah.
considering his options.
I still really like the Luminous Mage and the Lyrial Archer. It's perfect curve, 7 points right there out of hand. He's going to trade the Knight into the Carrot Master there. Possibly an Alvida's
Gourmet
play.
Emperor Kaiser.
Kaiser. I like Carrot Master.
Carrot Master?
Carrot Master.
What about
It's more
Gourmet
silly.
Emperor?
Gourmet Emperor.
Now I wonder about this, right? You're buffing your damage up to 4, and
Right.
typically it would be pretty good. You want to preserve.
Oh, there's a Death's Breath.
That's a way to survive.
It'll help him survive, but he knows he's going to survive. He's already at 18 health, and the Death's Breath, sort of like the zombie party, fills up your board. And
I think the real danger is if you play Nephthys and it gives you a bunch of Mordecais, but you've already taken one turn of damage. For example, if you get swung face this turn,
right,
Albert evolve, swing face next turn, then you play the Nephthys, and it's like,
right.
You're
not actually getting Kawi on your side of the field. You're not getting the ward. You're getting the effect, his last word effect. But if that last word effect could destroy an Albert, I mean, especially if Shugo goes face next turn on turn 8, I mean, you're essentially healing up for all that damage. It's going to be the zombie party.
I'll show you.
Interesting choice. Zombie party and then evolving the zombie, just getting 2 zombies on your own side of the field. I wonder if Shugo is going to be going for face this next turn. He's going to save the Albert for next turn. He's probably going to save his last Evolve Orb. Maybe Alwida's Maid Leader. I mean, that's a great 8 play right there, getting to save Tsubaki for the Nephthys coming out next turn.
And also keeping your damage relatively low in terms of individual card. Maid Leader looking to pull something here. It's going to be another Luminous. That
could be great.
Maybe.
That could be great, but even if...
I think the Alwida's is probably the choice here. Has a gut feeling. Because it gives you a ward, and it keeps your damage low, but ensures that you get that Storm on board.
And it keeps your own followers on your side of the field with low attack. So Kawi coming out next turn.
By the time the Enhance Albert comes out, it doesn't quite matter because you could just kill him.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Very, very true. And Akawi will have less effect.
It's going to be the Mage with a Night Evolve, maybe?
Possibly. Possibly, if he wanted to go for that little bit more face damage. He can already clear out the zombie, so he's already going to have tempo.
There's a Night Evolve, so he's going to do 6 here.
Deciding whether or not he wants to ping for face. It's going to get rid of the zombie, so that's a clear board for TaKa. That is going to be one massive Nephthys play coming out this turn.
All right. Show me.
Show me the money. Rolling the dice. There's a Mordecai and a Kawi.
Oh.
Absolutely massive. Healing for 2 and getting a Mordecai on your side of the field.
And he has a second one to play from hand.
Right. He's got a Death's Breath to play from hand as well, so there is the
Here's
enhanced
turn
Albert
9.
this turn. Or the Tsubaki as well. But man, now the clock, now that Mordecai is on the field, the clock is ticking down. There's no way to banish it.
He could actually go for the Tsubaki. Let it sit in the ambush, swing for 3. And then go for a Tsubaki Albert lethal hit.
He's got Mentor's teachings as well, so he can go for 1 more damage and also draw a card as well if he wants to put Mentor's teaching on the Maid or the Mage.
10 damage on board, though, is nothing to laugh at.
No, not
Playing
at
the Tsubaki to get rid of 5 of that would be useful. But this Mordecai situation will only get worse the longer the game drags on.
Right. And the Mordecai situation for sure, but the Death's Breath as well in the hand for TaKa. I mean, that's going to mitigate the Albert damage next turn, but he's going to summon Albert this turn, evolve it. Go for that 13 damage. Or possibly trade into the Nephthys as well for one of those attacks.
Oh, gosh.
Both of the attacks are going to be right to face, leaving 10 damage on the board for Shugo.
All right.
Oh, goodness.
But Shugo, I guess, well, let's think about, if he Death's Breath, he gets 3 wards. 3. The Storm can take down one of them.
Right.
With an Evolve, he could take down a second. And then a third, and Albert can close it out.
Right.
So Death's Breath, so you can't go 10 for face and Death's Breath. You need to clear board here for TaKa.
Yep, yeah, definitely getting rid of that Albert for sure. That is not a follower you want to remain on your opponent's side of the field, especially when it's enhanced. Oh my goodness.
Okay, that actually cuts down the damage potential of Shugo by an incredible amount.
Absolutely, especially, golly, Mordecai. Using that card effectively is so crucial. Oh, Moral Fencer.
Draw a card. Please draw a card.
Yep. This is a massive amount of damage on the board for TaKa. Not to mention the ward on Mordecai as well. Soul Conversion in his hand, too. He can destroy the Mordecai, go for even more options in his hand. Not to mention there's another Mordecai in hand.
Oh, God. And this is kind of the real fear of Nephthys Shadow, right? Just flexing right now.
And Nephthys Shadow very strong against this sword deck. In this situation, the way the turns have played out, Shadowcraft has earned a massive advantage from the decisions that TaKa has made. And he hasn't even pinged for any face damage this turn as well. He's just waiting to get that perfect board, exhausting the options of the Swordcraft player.
Tsubaki will take down another.
But there's still 4 health for TaKa. Only 4 health, so he's got the wards. And another Death's Ledger. That could be great because it could summon a Kawi, for example, being able to heal yourself up for even more.
Yes. I think it's going to be the Mordecai swing and the soul conversion, perhaps.
Possibly, yep. I think that's what he's going to do. Keep your Mordecai, you get more options on the field.
Grimner.
He's got Grimner for
that
next
would have
turn.
been real nice.
That would have been very nice. Sadly, though, it comes into his hand one turn too late.
Death's Ledger.
You can trade into the Knight and the Steelclad Knight, ensuring that if you get Kawi, you destroy the Tsubaki and heal for 4 health. It's going to be a Nephthys. Oh, no. Not gaining any last word effect there.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my gosh,
oh,
a Grimnir! No! That's gonna...
Not again!
Golly.
Not, please!
Not again. Shugo, spare us!
What is with Mana Surge? It was Noah last time. And this time it's Shugo.
Gosh. Are they? Oh, what is the secret? What is the secret to the Grimnir top decks right when you need them? That is what I want to know. If I had Shugo on the phone right now, that's what I would talk to him about. How do you get those Grimnirs? Massive play. Shugo's got that ear-to-ear grin on his face right now, being able to take that game away. Oh my gosh.
I think the thing that hurts the most is that we spent all this time being like, what is the optimal decision here?
Right.
How does Swordcraft buy themselves out of this scenario?
With those 2 wards for the zombies left, what options you need to have? And Albert, of course, to clear out the wards. Tsubaki swing. Grimnir. Great. Oh, awesome. Oh, man. Love this game. That was, man, what a great game.
Oh, my God.
Especially seeing Nephthys Shadow, like, come back from the grave of all places.
And the funny thing is, if he had drawn an Albert, I think he would have won as well. Because he would play Albert, Mentor's teaching it for the extra damage, have it able to do 4 damage per swing, use one of the swings to take down 1 zombie ward, use the, I believe it was a 2 damage left on the board. I think it might have been a Luminous Knight to take down a 2nd zombie ward, and then Albert could have used his 2nd swing to close it out. So there were actually 2 cards in that scenario that he could have drawn that would have won the situation for him.
Gotcha.
It just, you know, I'm a Grimnirist, and I don't like Grimnirs, and so I blame everything on Grimnir.
Oh, I love Grimnirs. Oh my gosh, Grimnirs. Such a great card.
The Mad Cyclone.
And now we get to see a Sword Mirror matchup, sure, but these are completely different deck compositions. Shugo's got this more mid-range Reaper and Catacomb-focused deck that we've seen time and time again, and we're getting to see that go up against the Death's Ledger Nephthys deck.
Oh, God. I need to take a shower. Take a trip to the hot springs.
Go to the hospital, man.
It's so frustrating because Nephthys was kicking butt.
That's right.
And just barely hanging on. Could have had better Kawi turns as well, but it was still hanging on. And as if for some kind of ill-timed revenge, TaKa now has 2 Grimnirs in hand. It's not quite the same, though, you know?
Right. Early in the game like this, the Grimnir's just kind of smiling at you. Hey, you want to play me? A 3rd
Oh,
Grimnir.
my God, please!
3 Grimnirs, 3 play points. Great card on turn 3, nonetheless.
A good setup, too, with the Unica constantly pinging the heal. Shugo not going to get the Evolve Orb until turn 5, so...
That's right. And the Tenacious Ghost only has 2 attack. It's got Ambush, which is great, especially when you could Sword Burst next turn, ping that for 2 damage, and then go for face for even more damage. But the Grimnir, you've got to deal with that.
Multiple Tenacious Ghosts and the Shadow Reaper means that everything on Shugo's side of the board can be hiding.
Gonna be ambushed, dude.
And then the Prince Catacomb can come down, and all of them have the skeleton effect.
We'll see if that play comes out in this game, because that play could be absolutely massive. He's sitting on Phantom Hell as well, doesn't have any shadows in his possession. But I think I really like the hand from TaKa. He's got all the Grimnirs. He's going to be able to mitigate a lot of the damage. And Shugo doesn't really have a way to deal with that, especially because TaKa's got the first Evolve Orb next turn. There is the Orthrus. So he could play that, maybe try to get lucky. He's going to do that. He's going to go right on the Unica. There it is. Bam!
Oh, my God. Well, one missed already today, so one had to hit.
Yep. Man, that Ghost being able to left alive with 1 health. That is, oh, that's real scary. Especially because there's not a Lyrial Archer in the hand of TaKa either.
And this is kind of the difference in early game pressure compared to comparing these two kind of deck archetypes, right? What do you play to answer that, right? A Lyrial probably would have been the best card to have.
Got the Kai'Sa as well.
But you only deal with one of them. And I think this starts to become really tough.
Having to throw your Grimnirs away for tempo this early in the game, especially trading into a 4-1.
And leaving the Grimnir with just 1 health.
Just 1 health, yeah.
Not a lot. First evolution turn here for Shugo. Each has Death's Breath in hand. And what that typically means to me is that games are going to grind out as the Death's Breaths just get traded.
Get traded, especially when there's Shadow Reapers, but also...
that honestly might help the Nephthys deck, though.
You
know, if Shugo spends turns playing wards, and TaKa responds by playing wards, then eventually you're going to hit the Nephthys, and then you have a Mordecai that just doesn't get removed.
And we don't know if Shugo has Grimnir in his Shadow deck either. TaKa has it. Do you think it's a safe bet? Sometimes we don't see it in a mid-range aggressive Shadow deck.
You know, you are right. You are absolutely right. You're right.
So it could come down to...
Grimnir is it's such an automatic take in most situations, but you're right.
Oh, that's another Shadow Reaper. That, oh my gosh, it's going to be absolutely massive.
And he's got a Catacomb as
he could
well
Reaper
to go
and
with
Catacomb this turn. Or Cerberus as well with a Coco or Mimi after. He's going to go for the Shadow Reaper right into the Catacomb. Oh, that's absolutely massive. Especially with 2 Shadow Reapers. Oh my gosh. These are the plays that keep me up at night. I am afraid of this. This terrifies me. My knees are shaking. I do not want to be in TaKa's shoes right now. He's got the Death's Breath with only 5 shadows. Oh my gosh. This is insane for TaKa to deal with.
Yeah, this is a real tough spot. Shadow generation is incredibly important. And I think TaKa ran into a hand that, the Grimnir Unica was a strong setup, but Orthrus, 720, 5,600, 2,000 no-scoped the Unica, and that changed everything.
That changed everything. If that hit the Grimnir and then buffed him up, he still would have had Unica, would have been able to heal for 2 health. Not to mention he would have been able to trade into another follower next turn for more tempo in his favor as well.
So he's dealt with 1 Shadow Reaper, but there's more. Phantom Howl would only buff up that Shadow Reaper further, making it 5/5.
Yeah, especially when you can trade his own followers into the followers that TaKa will summon this turn. Depending on what he chooses to do, he still has the Carrot as well, the Ghost, or the Catacomb could trade into it. And then Phantom Howl for even more face damage when you're gaining those shadows. I think Grimnir is the play here, trying to get that war, trying to mitigate at least 3 points of damage or at least 1 attack. We'll see what Shugo does to answer it. Oh, a Dark Conjurer when there's already an Evolved follower on board. Oh, that's got to feel real good. There is a Cerberus as well.
Can he kill?
This could be massive. He could trade the Catacomb into Grimnir, trade the Ghost into
3, 5, 6, 8,
and then Cerberus, Coco, and Mimi next
12 damage. I think he has 12 damage. If he plays Cerberus and then evolves, maybe the Shadow Reaper or something like that. So Catacomb in, buff up Reaper to 3 damage. 6 damage on board, can be buffed up to 8.
Right.
Plus the 4 from Coco and Mimi is 12.
And he's not going to be able to play the Conjurer.
He
His
could
board's gonna
stretch a
be
little
full.
more here. I was about to say, he could stretch a little more. If he had traded his Skeleton, it would have buffed up the Shadow Reaper and given him space to play the... but if he played the Ghost, the Dark Conjurer, he wouldn't have enough for Coco Mimi. Still, very frightening.
Very frightening board, especially when
And he
you're...
chose not to evolve anything. I think that's pretty smart because you have Phantom Howl in hand anyways.
You've got Phantom Howl and maybe next turn. So even if TaKa is able to clear this board, there's still that to deal with. There's Zombie Party, Death's Breath, and an Evolve Orb. I think that might be the play, especially knowing that there's Phantom Howl in the hand for Shugo. TaKa doesn't know that, but I feel like getting those wards when your opponent has this board could be crucial. But that's all you're going to do that turn. Death's Breath, Evolve, probably trade into the Reaper.
Yeah. Death Breath, Evolve, trade Reaper. The Skeleton with 3 damage is really a problem maker.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything about the Cerberus either.
Yeah, that's going to be staying on board till next turn as well, being able to take out one of the zombies and stay alive with 1 health if Cerberus wants to do that. So he's got 11 health. Mimi in hand.
The fact that that last Skeleton survives is actually very important. Very, very important. Does he have enough?
I don't think he's got enough for lethal this turn. There is the Evolve Orb with the Phantom Howl as well, but with a Death's Breath having to deal with that. And even then, TaKa's still going to be only at 5 shadows next turn, so he's not going to be able to play another Death's Breath and get the wards next turn. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's crucial.
I think he might be able to, if he does, he gets 3 extra damage. If he swings another Skeleton in, Conjurer Ghost in. Okay, he's not going for lethal. It may have come real close, but this is a strong board state.
Yeah. Very strong board state, making a statement. Shugo could be taking this match 2-0. There's a Mordecai in hand, but no Evolve Orb. That would be a dead hand if he plays Mordecai. I would lose in the game for sure. He's going to have to Death's Breath, but again, there's no ward on those zombies.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no real way to...
He's going to have Soul Conversion on the Lurching Corpse, getting rid of one of those followers, but again, I don't really think it's going to be enough, especially considering there's the Dark Conjurer and the Phantom Howl.
Yeah.
And the Evolve Orb left for Shugo. That is absolutely huge. He still has an Evolve Orb.
Yeah.
He's going to have more than enough damage he needs.
Yep. The Phantom Howl will just kill him now.
Yep.
If anything.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
And he drew the Grimner for the cherry on top.
Knowing next turn you had that. That's
so he did have the Grimner.
Real good. He did have the Grimner. He does have it. There it is.
Mana Surge is Shugo. And I really think that all comes down to, you know, making the deck as efficient as possible on the side of TaKa. The Nephthys was very close to working. And I feel like in this Shadow versus mid-range Shadow, you need to have a good transition. You need to have a good bridge, right? We didn't really see anything Kawi-wise. We didn't really see anything to help him survive, kind of ward up, heal up, not anything like that, you know? And I think that's just too rough against the kind of board that mid-range Shadow can build against you.
Right.
And this is not even considering what would happen if Ector was drawn, right? If Ector was added into the picture, then all of a sudden the situation becomes even more difficult for you to handle.
There's plenty of options that mid-range Shadow had to deal with the Death's Ledger Shadow.
And the real tragedy